Hi, my name is Gene Napolitano. I'm a LambdaX consultant at Cognitus, and today I'll be walking you through a short demo of LambdaX. To start, I will come over to the Agreements tab here. You can see we have a few agreements created, and the first thing I'll do is create a new agreement. So here, I will select my agreement, and I'll drag it onto the LambdaX page. Now you can see I have two options. I can upload a new agreement, or I can upload this as an attachment to an existing agreement. For this demo, I'll upload it as a new agreement. We're brought to the create agreement page or modal, and I will change the display name to video demo contract. I'll select our agreement type and subtype, which in this case is going to be sales, and it's a government contract. And this contract that I selected is a standard form 33. Here, I will select continue with AI extraction. This is typically a 20 to 30 second process. Our AI is going to go through this document and take out all the important fields, including headers, line items, and clauses. So we'll just give it a few seconds for this to finish. So here we are on the first step of the create agreement flow, and we're brought to the header page. So all these fields have been configured to integrate with SAP, and just some fields are for display purposes only. Now, when we come to this page, we'll see a few things. So the first thing that we notice is we have some sections here which are collapsible. The second thing is that we have some fields with this asterisk, which is indicating that this is a required field. So I would not be able to move on to the line item step without filling out this field. Third, we see some fields with this SAP tag, which indicates that this field will be sent down to SAP. So I'll go ahead and I'll start populating this agreement here. I'm just going to fill out the mandatory fields for now. Have some date fields. Let's pick an end date. Make this 2025. A pricing date. We'll match it with the start date. And also, if we turn the side panel on, you can see this is the contract that was extracted. So this is a 66-page standard form 33. Now, all this information that was extracted, so you see this prime contract number, for example, is being extracted right from this top left number 2 box, this contract number. Solicitation number is coming from the number 3 box, along with solicitation type, requisition number, the contract start date was populated. We have a few more fields, contract values populated. Let me continue. Now we come here to the business partner section, and we see that this sold to party is indicated as a mandatory field, and we see that it's also grayed out, so you can't type in here. Now this field, what it's going to do is it's actually going to pull from our master data, which is also integrated with SAP. So we can click on this field and it brings up the full list of our master data. Now I'll go ahead and I'll just select the customer from here. So we're going to use this TDSI customer, and it gets populated with the customer number. Let's continue to the next step. So here we see that 10 line items got extracted from this agreement. So I'll come down to the line item section, and we see the first one is 001 and the last one is 0011. So we have all these line items here. And now what I'll do is I will click into this first line item, and we'll see everything that got extracted here. So the item number was extracted. The item description was also extracted here, as you can see. We have the quantity as 3,652, and the unit of measure there is days. We also have the unit price, which gets populated, and the award cost as well, which is a pricing condition in SAP, is populated with the total amount. If I was going to be sending this agreement to SAP, I would fill up these mandatory fields with the CLIN number 1000, higher level item of 0, and SAP quantity. We have another material field here, or master data field, where we can select the material from our master data. So I can pull up this full list, and I can also search. So if I want a service material, I can search and I can pull this material right here. So now we select service material. We'll put the quantity as 1, and we'll scroll down. We'll save, and we can go back. So now we can see that this first line item is now populated because I filled that out. For demo purposes, I'm going to move on to the clauses. Now here, this is perhaps the most tedious part of the contract management, is keeping track of all your clauses. Now you can see in about 20 or 30 seconds, our AI pulled out 208 clauses. We actually ran a match against our clause library, which I'll show you later on. And we found 208 clauses that matched. And you can see here we have 2 clauses in the unmatched section. So these clauses do not exist in our master data clause library. Now what the user can do is he can select these clauses to add them to the library, or he can say these are not accurate clauses and I don't want to include them. Now let me close the side panel and we'll move on to the data sets. So data sets is a cool feature. It's an Excel-like table that we can create, and we can create multiple data sets. So if I come in here and I click on this data set, this is a pre-configured table that is able to be filled out for each contract. So this is a PCID POV table. So we can fill this data set out as we see fit for this contract. The next step would be linked agreements. Here what we can do is we can add agreements that are already created in LambdaX in the internal section. So for example, if you want to link a master and an operational contract together, you can come right in here. You can click this button and add it. And now these 2 documents have a bidirectional linkage. We can also add external documents here. So if I come here, I can copy and paste a URL, and I can give this a document name. And finally, our last step of the create agreement flow is the workflow. So here you can see that since I'm logged in as myself, G Napolitano, I'm marked as the primary owner. Now what I can do is I can add other members. So if I add, say, Vipul and Rahul here, I can add them. They get added here. And now I can drag them to their appropriate roles. So say I want to make Vipul the first approver. And then I can also add a second level approver, and I'll make Rahul the second level approver. So it's a simple drag and drop. We can have as many level approvers as we want. We can also have secondary owners. We have primary owners, and each of these team roles have different permissions on each agreement. So now we'll go ahead and create this agreement. And here we go. This video demo contract was created, and now I can click on it, and I can see everything that I just did on the agreement dashboard. Now for the next part of this, I have set up another contract that's ready to be sent to SAP. So let me show you this contract. So this one we're calling SAP demo contract. It's also a government contract here. So we can see, if we come to the details, we can see we selected a sales document type, a sales org. So we filled out all these details already. We have one line item. Again, we have all our clauses. And we also have data sets. This pricing data set is, I have already filled this out before the demo, just as an example. So this is a table showing a lot of pricing data. We can see the labor categories and the price for each year. Additionally, we can come here and edit. And it's very simple just to add a new row here. We'll copy paste this. Say we want to add a product manager. So I will add a product manager. And for year 1, we want to add a price of $150. All right. So this is very, very easy to use and very intuitive. What I'll do is I'll go ahead. Again, we have this header line items, clauses, I'll go ahead and I'll send all this data to SAP. Now, one thing to notice here is this SAP contract number is blank right now. That's because this contract has not been sent to SAP yet. So what I'll do is I'll come here in these three dots and I'll click on action. Now we have a list of flows that we can select from, and this one is to create a sales contract in SAP. So I'll click this and I'll execute the flow. So the flow got executed successfully. Now what I'll do is I'll refresh this page, and you can see that this SAP contract number is now populated with the respective contract that was just created in SAP. Now if I duplicate this tab real quick and I come over to integrations, you can see that this is the flow that was just ran and completed. So if I click on this, you can see that our flow got executed, and this is the contract number that came back out, 1652, which matches up with this SAP contract number here. Now, I have one more contract that was pre-set up for this demo, and it is demo contract SF33. Now you can see, once this loads, that this contract is in active status. So once we reach an active status, that means that we can't edit the agreement anymore, but we can have modifications. Now for this contract, there's two modifications here that I've already set up. So if I come in here and I show you mod 2, we can see here we have some attributes such as modification number, modification type, effective date, mod type. And again, these SAP tags indicate that these fields will be flowed down to SAP. So this will initiate the CIS-AD mod tracking in S4. When we come to changes, we can see exactly what changed on this mod. So the internal point of contact went from no one to John Smith, and the security classification changed from classified to confidential. Now, if I go back to this agreement and I come to the details page, there's two ways to display mods here. So the first way would be here. I can click on mod 1, and I can easily see with this M1 tag what field got changed, right? So this contract end date got changed in mod 1, and this contract value got changed in mod 1 as well. Now in mod 2, I can see that the security classification changed and the internal point of contact changed. Now another way to view these modifications is using our comparison mode. So if we click here and we click compare, first we're shown with the original agreement. Now what I can do is I can add a 2-column view or a 3-column view. For this purpose, I'll add a 3-column view, and I'll select mod 1 here and mod 2 here. So now we can see the original on the left, mod 1 in the middle, and mod 2 on the right. And as we scroll, we can see that contract start date got changed in mod 1 to September 14, 2027 from October 29, 2021. As we keep scrolling, it's clear what fields changed on what mod with the highlight and the M2 tag, and we could see the progress throughout the agreements. Additionally, we can see on this left-hand side, we have a few other options here. I'll come over to the configure first, and I'll show master data. So in master data, we have clauses, customers, materials, employees, and vendors. Now the clauses are linked directly to acquisition.gov. So we have all the acquisition.gov clauses here in this library. We also have this general tab where we can create our own proprietary clauses. Now the customer, material, and employee and vendor, this master data is coming directly from SAP, right? So we can see all this information. We can click through here. We see the materials, and we can click on here, And we can see all these attributes coming from SAP. So material description, material number, unit of measure, who created it, when it was last changed. Now, additionally, for all of these master data objects, we can create our own. So we can create a new column. We can say material name, and we can create a new material. So material 1, add. So now material 1 is added. And this can be used on agreements as shown before. The next thing I can show is the configuration. So everything is fully configurable in LambdaX. So this is the sales contract government configuration that I used before in the agreements that I was showing you. And you can see here that we can edit and we can show all these different sections. We can rename sections, we can delete sections, we can add all these fields, reorder all these fields with our drag and drop. And we can save. We can also see a full version history here, who did what, on what date, and what time. And now the last feature of LambdaX, which I briefly touched on, is the integration flows. So the integration flows is a very powerful feature. So what we can do here is we can show, this is our flow to create a sales contract in SAP, and it will update the contract number on the agreement like I showed before. So what it's saying here is when an agreement is manually triggered, we're going to get the agreement from LambdaX. We're going to do some data transformation. We're going to call a BAPI in SAP, and we're going to create a sales contract. Lastly, we're going to update the agreement in LambdaX. Now we have a full run history here. So this is the flow that I just ran in this demo. And we can come here, we can look at the flow logs, and we can see everything that happened in this agreement. If there's any errors or success, we can see the payloads and everything. We can also click within these BAPIs. We can see the inputs and outputs. So this output was this SAP contract number here.